Good morning. Happy Tuesday, Tops. I just finished journaling, and it was a very heavy session. I pretty much wrote how it's hard to keep telling yourself that everything will work out, because then you start noticing little chips in that, and that makes you start questioning, what if it doesn't? And as much as you keep kind of pushing forward, you inevitably start doubting yourself more and more. And you just get to a point where you don't know what it's like to feel excited for the next day. Yeah, it was a really heavy session. I guess I'm just trying to understand a lot of my grief, a lot of my sorrows, a lot of those heavy emotions, and it's always kind of strange because whenever I get into this kind of downpour, I take it out of myself, and I kind of make myself feel so unloved and uncared for, and but I also just don't have the energy or motivation to kind of just like keep pushing and pushing. And yeah, it's kind of where I'm at right now. That is the life update. April was a very heavy month, and it's challenging to know where to or know how to move forward when you get to a point where you're just like, I don't know what else I can do. But with that being said, May is just around the corner. I am still showing up for myself through journaling, through vlogging, through trying to be a human, and even if the tasks don't feel exciting or thrilling or whatever they need to, I know I will kind of overcome this like hump that I'm in right now. And yeah, I am gonna put job hunting on a pause. I just don't have the capacity to even reach out to recruiters, send cold emails, redo my resume for the 95th time for a job application. I also just kind of don't care. So I think the best possible solution right now would be to put that on a pause, to give myself some time to find a way to reconnect and to go from there. If you were to have asked me last year, is this where you thought you would be in 2026? And my answer would have been no, I didn't think it was going to be so depressed and so anxious and verbalizing it on YouTube. But yeah, that's where I'm at. In terms of reading, I will finally finish My Lover the Rabbi by Koestenbaun today. I will be working on the vlog most likely, and I think I'm just gonna keep it very slow. I don't really have much else going on for today. I wanted to go to this to Open Studio to work on my copper plate, but with the kind of gray weather, with me kind of battling all my inner demons and trying to make some sense of how to handle my depression and my anxiety, I thought that maybe being home with Yuki, kind of having a slow day, would be the best possible solution. And speaking of Yuki, he's here to make an appearance. Let me just grab him for a quick second. Oh. Yuki, do you want to say hi to the tops? That's his hello. How are you doing, Yuki? I feel like Yuki is the mascot for the floppy tops, and he's just a reminder for me to just keep going sometimes. I don't know. But yeah, that's all I have for Tuesday.
To the temple first. What? Aang, no fair!
The books, Laura books, and so
Further, like, subscribe, tell a friend, tell an enemy. We have good times here. Mondays, we talk all things books.
Late afternoon, and so I'm wrapping up another week and therefore another vlog.
Good morning. Happy Thursday, tops. I know, it's been a minute since I've been able to record something. Just give me 1 second. I just want to take a sip of my iced coffee. But I'm back. Last week was kind of a whirlwind. I ended up finishing My Lover the Rabbi by Koestenbaun. You know what? I'd leave it like this. I really did enjoy the book. I enjoyed Koestenbaun's prose. I loved the way that it was structured in this kind of vignette form. I personally felt that the book was just a bit too long, and I felt that there could have been a little bit more cutting to get like a more cohesive story. I was very surprised with the ending. Was not expecting it to go so cerebral. I felt like I was reading Inception, or like from watching the movie Inception. That's what I was feeling when I was reading it. Like, I'm like, is this a dream? Is this not a dream? But yeah, I honestly did love the main kind of theme of it, which was what happens when we don't process our grief and our traumas, and why do we love someone that is so prone to those things and unable to kind of and is unable to kind of like talk about them and be more open or be more willing to kind of invite you to join the process. I don't know. I found that our narrator really kind of loved the rabbi so deeply, but the rabbi just had this kind of arm's length, and then only towards the end did we really start kind of seeing the rabbi's character kind of unpacking their trauma, unpacking this sense of vulnerability, unpacking this sense of kind of like rawness. And it was really beautiful, and it really shows that someone can just have a hard time trusting themselves and trusting how to be vulnerable. But yeah, it was a fantastic read. It was so beautifully written and lyrical, and just Koestenbaun creates this way of structuring sentences that just felt so new to me, and I love that. And that's kind of why I read, is to kind of discover ways that words can be combined to create something new. Would I recommend it? I'm not sure. I feel like My Love with the Rabbi is a very kind of niche book for those who love poets, who write fictions, who love narratives that might not be so linear. It's maybe not a book for everyone, but there is kind of definitely a niche group of like queers who would find this book fascinating and would love the actual writing. But yeah, after that, I started Fruit Fly by Josh Silver. This has been making the rounds on Instagram and on BookTube. Simon from Savage Reads held it up, I think, last week. It's beautiful cover. It's green, like neon green, with the top of the orange and a fly sitting right on top of it. I was captivated by that. I got my hands on it, and I'm a quarter way through. Ooh, I have so many thoughts. So essentially what Fruit Fly is about, it is two narrators. One, Mallory, who is in her mid to late 30s. She wrote a successful book and now is in this kind of like creative block stage of her life where she's not really sure what she's doing. She can't seem to kind of get out of this creative block. She's in this kind of horrible relationship. Her husband slash boyfriend is very toxic and gives off major fuckboy vibes, and he's forcing her into like wanting to have kids. She just wants to be able to get back into writing, and so she does the most kind of chaotic thing, which is to download Grindr and to kind of find a story from a gay man's perspective. And which she does. She manages to kind of go to a chemsex party. For those that aren't familiar with that, that is kind of an orgy fest with very active drug usage during it. It tends to be very unsafe, and it goes on for weeks, sometimes days, sometimes weeks at a time, depending how much drugs are within your system. But yeah, she finds this call boy, Leo. She starts kind of stalking and kind of writing his story, which is problematic. And she's doing all these things that I find are so horrible. And it's like she's weaponizing her allyship, and she's kind of trying to make a bestseller, but it's not her story to tell. This is Leo's story. And she's so toxic, and it gives off this woman that just has had so much benefits thrown her way, that and privilege thrown her way, that it's it makes you want to question, being like, Mallory, girl, is this really the right thing to do? This isn't your story. You're tokenizing gayness, and you're just you're coming off really privileged and really bad. But with that being said, we also do get kind of twists. We find out more about Mallory's story, and there is a lot of like darkness there, and so I'm very intrigued to see kind of what she did and why she ended up being who she is. For Leo's character, he's struggling, and like it clearly kind of screams addict, major meth head. He's kind of just, he kind of wants to get clean but also doesn't. It seems like he's kind of just running away from himself altogether, and it's hurtful to see, and it's going to be interesting to see how we get to know Leo more, not only from Mallory's perspective, but also from Leo's perspective, where he's starting to also not be as innocent as he might be. He really just is starting to feel a bit toxic himself. So it's a lot of toxicity, it's a lot of darkness, it's a lot of like, whose story are we following? Who has the right to a story? Sorry about that. I'm back. I apologize. Yuki lost his little great ball. As you can hear, he's found it again and playing with it. But yeah, I'm interested in Fruit Fly. It's a relatively, like, I love how Josh Silver writes. I love his way of tying in other authors like Rachel Cusk and whatnot, and Shakespeare. I feel like he's trying to really showcase how much power there is in literature, and so I'm intrigued. I'll give you more updates as I progress within the book. In terms of life updates, I wasn't able to upload the video last week, and I do apologize. Some stuff happened, and so I postponed last week's video to this week as a double feature. But yeah, other than that, there hasn't really been much to update you guys on. I've been relatively slow. I have a call later today with Forma Editions. Maxime, who is the creative director at Forma, I'm just gonna jump on a call with him and talk about kind of like how he's navigating the kind of art publishing space, and kind of trying to see if I can pick his brain and find a way to kind of create a path for myself. So I will keep you posted. And other than that, it's kind of been it. I'm gonna go and enjoy the rest of the day. I'm gonna go read Fruit Fly and work on the vlog. I will see you all tomorrow. Have a fantastic Thursday, and it was so good catching up. All right, bye. Happy Friday. I just wanted to take a sip before I started talking to you guys. We made it to the end of the week. I am so proud of all of you tops. Let's kind of play catch up. In terms of life updates, there isn't really much to update you guys on. Well, maybe there is. I'm finishing up my ceramics class, so I might do kind of a recap of what I experienced and learned from the 16 weeks of wheel throwing that I took. Terms of other life updates, I'm meeting up with a friend later today to grab a bite and just play catch up. And then Andrew and I are having dinner, just us two, which is going to be nice after all the hecticness and kind of emotional weight that this week was. And then what else? That's kind of about it. In terms of reading, I am halfway through Josh Silver's Fruit Fly. I don't want to say I hate the characters. I just hate their personalities, and I hate just how toxic both the narrators are. Mallory being this middle-aged woman who just wants to be a validated writer and is just doing the most toxic things possible and kind of stepping over boundary lines that I feel like she needs to kind of check herself a little bit. I'm reading her chapters and I just want to scream at her, being like, girl, what are you doing? And then Leo, being our other narrator, the kind of early 20s rent boy, he's just, I don't know, they're both very toxic and they both are trying to manipulate a situation. He wants Cash to be able to kind of feel a sense of ecstasy through drugs and kind of through drugs and just this kind of I don't want to say abandonment, but like just a full sense of release. He just wants to feel nothing, essentially, which I get. Like, he wants to be avoidant and he wants to just be a floating blob in the air, but he also has to have his own accountability for what he's doing with his life. And if he keeps saying that he wants to get clean, he wants to be a better person, and then it feels like he wants validation, but he doesn't want to put the kind of effort in to be able to be a better person, if that makes sense. And then Mallory's husband, Ronan, I hate him so much. This man is so toxic. This man pretty much said, let's have a baby, never brought any conversation up ever again, or kind of asking Mallory if she's ready to have a child. And then next thing you know, 2 weeks later, he's getting her a book on prepping your body for pregnancy. This man is, oof, I hate him so much. And like, I get that he's attractive, I get that he's all these things, but he is so toxic for her, and she needs to leave. Easier said than done, I understand, but she needs to leave that marriage because he is not a good person. Neither is she, but like, he is ultimate fuckboy material. I honestly have a feeling that he might be cheating on her. This is just like the vibes I'm getting from his kind of character analysis. But yeah, I'm really enthralled into Silver's world with Fruit Fly. I'm loving the development of the characters. I love how just like fast paced it is. I love that we will have one chapter from Mallory's perspective and then we gain that same chapter from Leo's perspective, and it's so thrilling, and there's just so much happening, and I'm so hooked. So I feel like by the weekend I will be done. But yeah, that's kind of it for reading updates. I feel like today is mostly just going to be seeing my friend Brandon, seeing Andrew. It is also Friday, so I know album of the week drops a whole bunch of albums that have come out today, so I'm going to scroll through that website and find some beautiful music to listen to. And other than that, I'm just going to go and enjoy this relatively calm Friday. I hope you tops are having a fantastic Friday. I will see you all soon. All right, bye.
I think I recently hit 95K subscribers, which is actually insane.
Good morning. Happy Monday, tops. I am back. I know this video is going to be very long, but here's a recap of the weekend. It mostly spent I mostly spent the time just reading. Saturday I had my ceramics class. I glazed everything, and then I picked up a few non-alcoholic bottles from Sober Market on Summerhill. I read a little bit outside on the back porch of the coffee shop that's right beside Sober Market, so that was really nice. And then on Sunday it was Mother's Day. I got to hang out with my mom. We had some lunch. It was really sweet. I got her some beautiful tulips. And yeah, it was a relatively kind of nice weekend. In terms of reading, I have a quarter left of Fruit Fly by Josh Silver. I'm really enjoying it. I'm eager to kind of see how Silver wraps up this chaotic double narrative story. There was a scene in the last quarter that I read which was extremely heartbreaking, and just trigger warning, it does revolve around like kind of sexual assault and kind of having no agency towards your body, but Leo essentially kind of gets to the point where he wants to numb himself, and so he messages one of his casual hookups that's throwing a chemsex party, and it was just such a gut-wrenching scene to read. But what I found really intriguing about it was how Silver kind of created this euphoric haze of kind of going in and out of the body, being lost within the words, really kind of giving us a sense of Leo's mental state within that moment. And that whole scene kind of reminded me of Robert Gluck's novel that I read a few months ago. I'm spacing out the name, but I'll put it down below. Or Jack the Modernist, there we go. In Jack the Modernist, there was one scene where the narrator is having a sexual encounter, and it's his body but also his mind kind of talking to us, and it's really interesting how heavy scenes or scenes involving physicality get developed. And I think Silver and Gluck have this kind of beautiful narration on the physicality that occurs on the body, but also the kind of mental delay that we gain from the mind. Overall, I'm enjoying Fruit Fly. I find that there's moments where I'm kind of questioning mostly Mallory. I find her character to be very irritating. I also find Leo's character to be irritating, but I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't really have that with Mallory. I just feel like she's using her privilege in the most disgusting ways, but also Ronan, her husband, is just toxic. I am curious to see if others have felt this way, but I feel like he has some undertones of gaslighting and abusive behavior towards Mallory. And I don't know, he's not a good guy. And clearly she knows this and she wants out of the marriage, but her way out is to kind of abuse her privilege to regain her creative craft again. But let's see how Silver wraps this up, and I will talk about the next quarter tomorrow. In terms of life updates, today there is a cooking zine launching in Toronto. I might attend it. It's a little later in the day, so we will see how I feel. I really just want to kind of stay home and read, but it's good to be kind of social and get out of the house. And then Yuki has his surgery booked for Wednesday, and I'm going to be starting yoga again. I've done yoga kind of on and off throughout the years. It's something I'm really drawn to. I like the idea of the meditative practices. While I was at an agency, I focused on meditation very heavily. I got to being able to meditate for a solid 30 minutes. It was also a lot of internal work, so I had to stop because I was going a bit too deep. And sometimes you do want to just remain on the outside of everything. But yeah, I'm going to be starting up yoga. I'm excited to kind of wake up the bones and start practicing that again. And other than that, I think I'm just going to read. Have my next few books selected for the upcoming weeks, so I'll take a little video of all of them for you guys. And yeah, I hope you have had a fantastic 2 weeks. I love you all. I want to thank you all, and yeah, this is exciting to kind of step into the summer season with you tops. All right, I will see you all next week. Have a fantastic Monday and enjoy yourself. All right, bye guys.
What's the biggest you've ever taken?
It was about 18 years ago. I think it was about 11 inches.